She always said hospitality was about precision. Predictable patterns, clean lines, schedules that worked like heartbeat rhythms. Emily Carter, 39, took pride in the seamless operation of the Drake and Monroe Hotel in downtown Chicago. Nothing fell out of place on her watch. But that was before Ryan. The first time Sean noticed the change. It was a Tuesday, late October. Emily had come home long after midnight, the scent of whiskey lingering in the folds of her coat. "You okay?" he had asked, rising from the couch, concern etched gently into the lines of his forehead. "Just inventory issues," she mumbled, toeing off her heels. "The new bar system's a mess." Sean believed her, because for 7 years, believing her had never been a mistake. Their marriage wasn't flashy, but it was reliable, like the way he always made her tea without asking, or how she kissed his shoulder in the mornings instead of saying goodbye. But routines can fray. The hotel had hired a new bartender, a transfer from New York. Ryan Ford, 26, tattoos on his forearms, a confidence that didn't try too hard. Emily mentioned him casually at first. "He actually understands cocktail ratios," she said over dinner one night. "Not like the last guy." Then it was, "He stayed late to help restock without even being asked." Then, "He's surprisingly insightful about people." Sean didn't say much, but he noticed how often she mentioned Ryan. He noticed when Emily began working later, saying the night shifts needed more oversight. He noticed how she silenced her phone during dinner, how she took it with her into the bathroom, how she laughed at her screen when she thought he wasn't looking. One Friday evening, Sean offered to pick her up after work. She declined, too quickly. "No need, I'll probably be late." Night audit meeting. He didn't push, just kissed her cheek and watched her leave, a faint unease tightening in his chest. That night, he waited up. Midnight came, no sign of her. When she walked in at 1:17 a.m., there was a faint smear of lipstick that wasn't hers on her collar. She didn't notice. He didn't ask. Sean wasn't the jealous type. But silence breeds speculation, and speculation, unchecked, can rot even the strongest wood. Emily, meanwhile, was floating somewhere between excitement and guilt. Ryan made her feel present, seen. He had a way of tilting his head when she spoke, as if her every word mattered. When he complimented her, it wasn't about her performance metrics or managerial acumen. It was her laugh, her eyes, the way she carried herself in heels. She hadn't heard those things in years. She told herself it was harmless. Just conversation, flirtation, maybe, but nothing real, nothing serious. But the way she lingered near the bar after hours, the way their texts drifted into late-night territory, it was a slope, slick and steeper than she realized. Back at home, Sean grew quieter. He began cooking dinners for one. Watching TV alone, their bed, once a shared sanctuary, became divided by silence. Emily told herself it was just stress, a phase, that nothing had happened yet. Until the email came. It was anonymous, no subject, just a Dropbox link and one line. "You should probably see what your wife does at work." Sean didn't open it right away. His hands trembled too much. His mind flooded with denial. Emily would never. She was devoted, loyal, she had integrity. But curiosity is cruel, and truth, once seen, cannot be unseen. The footage was grainy. Elevator camera, time stamped at 12:43 a.m. 2 figures. Emily, Ryan, close, too close. Ryan's hand on her waist. Emily's head tilted back in laughter. Then, Sean stopped watching. He stood in the quiet of their kitchen, the fridge humming behind him, and felt the weight of betrayal settle into his bones. Later, people would ask why he didn't confront her immediately. But some silences are too loud to speak over, and some betrayals cut too cleanly to bleed right away. In the dark, he whispered to no one, "I thought she was just tired. I thought I knew my wife." Outside, Chicago slept. Inside, everything had changed. The scent was different. That's where it started. Not the affair, but the awareness of it. Sean couldn't put his finger on it at first. But when Emily leaned in to kiss him goodnight, Her skin carried a fragrance that wasn't hers. Not quite floral, not quite musky, just unfamiliar and sharp. He said nothing. It had been a long day. Emily worked late again, covering the evening shift at the Langston Hotel after a surprise inspection threw schedules into chaos. That's what she told him. He believed her. Why wouldn't he? Emily Carter was the kind of woman who got things done, kept it together, and made high expectations look routine. But lately, her routines had changed. She stayed longer at the hotel, even when she wasn't technically needed. Her phone never left her side. Sean noticed the way she tilted the screen slightly away from him while texting. The laugh that escaped her lips while she cooked, then stopped when she caught his eye. The sudden attention to appearance, fresh lipstick at 9 p.m. A new perfume she claimed was a free sample. And then there was Ryan. 26, charming, and dangerously observant. He was hired only a month ago to tend the rooftop bar. Emily introduced him to Sean once at a staff party. Sean had extended a friendly hand. Ryan's grip was firm but quick. His smile just a few degrees too bright. "He's smart," Emily had said later, casually. "You'd like him if you talk more." Sean didn't want to talk more. He wanted his wife back. On the night of the quarterly staff party, Emily told Sean not to wait up. It was tradition for management to celebrate late with staff. She said the rooftop bar would be closed to guests, and she needed to ensure everything went smoothly. That night, Sean fell asleep on the couch, the TV casting blue light over his quiet living room. Emily came home just before dawn. She smelled like gin and citrus and something Sean didn't have words for, something too raw to be on her skin. The next day, at work, a private message pinged on Sean's desktop. It was from a former intern at the hotel who now freelanced in IT support. No text, just a video file. The name read, elevator_7_0103m.mov. Sean hesitated only a second before clicking play. The footage was grainy, but not enough to obscure reality. The elevator camera captured everything. Emily stepping in at 1:03 a.m., followed closely by Ryan. She pressed the button for the 18th floor but didn't let the doors close. Ryan pinned her against the wall, her hands in his hair, his mouth on her neck. No hesitation, no shame, just hunger. It lasted under 60 seconds. Sean closed the window. The silence in the office buzzed louder than any fluorescent light above him. He didn't cry, he didn't scream, he simply sat back and exhaled, slow, controlled, as if trying not to break his own ribs with grief. Meanwhile, back at the hotel, someone else had already seen the video. The footage had been pulled earlier that day by a junior tech checking an unrelated network glitch. He recognized Ryan first, recognized Emily next. He didn't like Ryan, never did. Found his arrogance too slick, too performative. The tech shared the video in a private WhatsApp group with a few coworkers. "Thought y'all should see what's going on in Elevator 7. The caption read. From there, it spread fast. TikTok, Reddit, a Discord server for hotel employees around the city. The faces were blurred slightly in some clips, but not enough. People didn't need confirmation. Her walk, her voice, her signature necklace. It was all there. Emily found out the next morning when her assistant walked into her office with an iPad. Pale and trembling. "Mom, you need to see this." The clip was looping on Twitter. The comment section was brutal. Memes, crude hashtags. Even guests began referring to her as Miss 7. She watched the footage only once. Her hand trembled not from the content, but from the knowledge of what came next. Her husband had likely seen it. Her staff had definitely seen it. And soon, the board would, too. For a brief moment, Emily felt her knees buckle. She steadied herself against the glass desk. Outside her office window, the Chicago skyline rose indifferent and cold. Inside, she was unraveling. And somewhere down in facilities, Ryan was pouring himself a coffee, smiling like the world still spun for him. Emily Carter had always managed every crisis. But this time, the disaster was her, and the whole hotel was watching. The boardroom lights were too bright. And the silence too sharp. Emily sat at the long glass table, hands folded, knuckles white. Across from her were 3 men and 2 women, all in suits. One of them was another, legal counsel, the rest, senior board members. All with measured stares. A folder was slid toward her. "This outlines the formal complaint. Ms. Carter," said the woman from our. Her tone was gentle, almost pitying. "As per policy, you are being placed on immediate leave pending internal review." Emily reached for the folder but didn't open it. Her throat burned. She nodded slowly, trying to speak but finding no voice. Her signature, when she finally scribbled it at the bottom of the form, looked like someone else had written it. They thanked her for her service. No one met her eyes. She walked out of the room like a ghost. Her office felt colder, smaller. A printed memo had already been placed on her desk, effective immediately. "Your access credentials have been suspended." When she got home, Sean wasn't there. His shoes were gone, so was his toothbrush. On the dining table sat a small jewelry box. Inside was his wedding ring. No note, just finality. Emily sat on the edge of the couch, staring at it for what could have been hours. She didn't cry, not yet, not until she opened the wine. And then it came in waves. Not the betrayal, not the scandal, but the realization she'd burned the only bridge she never thought she could lose. Ryan didn't answer her calls. Not the first day, not the second. On the third, she showed up at his apartment. He opened the door shirtless, a drink in hand. Music played behind him. There was laughter inside. "You said it was just between us," Emily said, voice shaking. "You promised." Ryan shrugged. "I didn't send the video." "Emily, you think I'm stupid? That was the IT guy, not me. But you could speak up," she said. "Tell them it wasn't what it looked like. That you pressured me." "Pressured?" He laughed, loud and sharp. "You came on to me. You ran the show. Don't rewrite it now just because it blew up." Her hand trembled at her side. "I trusted you." He sipped his drink. "It was fun, that's all. You made it something else." She didn't scream. She didn't throw the glass in his face like her heart begged her to. She turned and walked away, every step heavier than the last. Back at the hotel, the investigation committee convened without her. The footage had done its damage. But the rumor mill did more. Someone had sent the clip to a local blogger. Within hours, it was trending. Executive hotel manager caught on tape, read the headline on BuzzFeed. Her name was never mentioned officially. But they didn't need to. Commenters pieced it together. Her LinkedIn, her past interviews, her face. She tried deactivating everything. Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn. But the screenshots had a life of their own. In the final meeting before her termination, Emily spoke through tears. "I built this hotel's reputation. I carried every holiday season, every celebrity meltdown, every crisis. And I broke the one rule I always taught my team: never bring the storm indoors." A pause, a breath. "I thought I could control it. Even fire, if you cup it gently, can be warm, but I didn't cup it. I fed it, and now it's burning down everything." No one clapped, no one consoled her, they just moved to the next agenda item. Outside, a junior employee stood by the elevator and couldn't meet her gaze. But Emily walked out with her head high, not because she felt proud, but because pride was all she had left. The elevator chimed. She stepped in. Same elevator, same camera, but this time, she was alone. The official letter arrived on Monday morning. A courier dropped it at the concierge desk of her condo building, where it waited in a neutral white envelope. No logos, no fanfare, just the weight of consequence folded in 3. Emily picked it up in silence, already knowing what it contained. No hearing, no appeal, just the verdict, effective immediately. Your employment with the Langston Group is terminated. Grounds: personal conduct unbecoming and in violation of ethical clauses 7.1 and 7.3. She read the line 3 times. Each word landed like a stamp across her chest. The world didn't stop turning. But hers did. Sean filed for divorce 2 days later. The petition came through her attorney. Irreconcilable differences. Substantiated by visual evidence. No preamble, no conversation, just a man severing himself from the rot. Emily never blamed him. She only wondered if he cried the night he left or if he felt relief. The silver band on her finger had started to itch like a scar before it heals. She took it off and left it on the bathroom counter, the same way Sean had done with his. She applied to 17 hotels in the first week. By the end of week 2, every interview ended the same way: polite interest. Then sudden cancellations, or worse, silence. It only took one Google search. Her name auto-filled with the word elevator. Her professional image, once pristine, was now a meme. Elevator Emily trended for 72 hours, accompanied by GIFs and audio loops of the surveillance video's silent embrace. Ryan, meanwhile, had pivoted. He launched a TikTok under the handle @RealRianites, where he leaned into a curated persona of the misunderstood bartender. His first post, a blurred parody reenactment of the elevator moment, with the caption, "Mistakes were made. But were they mine?" It went viral. Emily watched it once. That was enough. The comments weren't cruel, not all of them. Some called him gross, others called him clever, but no one defended her. Former colleagues ghosted her. The senior assistant who once brought her coffee unfollowed her LinkedIn. Even the residential women's group she'd volunteered with sent an email titled, "Update to Committee Membership." Her name was missing from the list. It was 2:17 a.m. when she finally watched the elevator video again. Really watched it, not with panic, or dread, or denial, but with detachment. The woman in the frame wasn't powerful, wasn't even present. She looked like someone seeking something in the worst possible place. The way she kissed, the way she leaned in, wasn't lust. It was need. It was emptiness with lipstick. A cry in disguise. Emily whispered aloud in her apartment. Quiet as snow. I don't see a woman being seductive. I see a woman desperate to feel wanted. She closed the laptop. No tears came, not because she was strong, but because she was empty. And in that emptiness, for the first time, she heard herself breathe again. The city outside moved on without her. Headlines shifted, scandals rotated, but inside, she remained, not the villain, not the victim, just a woman learning. Too late. What fire does when you think it's only warming your hands? It burns everything you touch. The wind was colder in Minnesota. Not brutal like Chicago winters, but quieter. Quieter in a way that felt less like punishment and more like permission to disappear. Emily Carter, now Emily Reeves, woke each morning to the sound of coffee machines and the scent of baked scones. The small lakeside cafe she worked in didn't ask about her past. The manager had seen the scars in her eyes and decided to let them be. That, in itself, was mercy. She poured lattes, wiped tables, memorized regulars' orders. No one asked what she did before. No one whispered when she passed. Some days, the silence was suffocating. Other days, it saved her. The apartment she rented was above the cafe. Small, warm, one window overlooked the lake. In winter, the glass frosted over and Emily would draw shapes into the frost with her finger. Loops. Spirals. Her initials without meaning. She didn't keep mirrors. One afternoon, she walked to the town library. Not because she needed a book, but because she missed the feeling of being anonymous in a room full of thoughts. At the community bulletin board, tucked between flyers for piano lessons and missing cats, was a photo, Sean. It was a wedding announcement. His smile was the same. The woman beside him had kind eyes and wore a pin from a non-profit group Emily vaguely recognized. The date was 2 weeks ago. She didn't cry, just stood there, hand gripping the strap of her canvas bag until her knuckles went white. She whispered, "I hope you're happy," and she meant it. Later that week, she opened her email. A message sat in her inbox. Subject line, "From someone who still remembers." The sender was Alyssa, a junior staff member from the hotel. The message was short. "I don't agree with what happened. But I also remember how you stayed up during the blackout to calm the guests. How you gave me your shoes when mine broke at the gala. You were the reason I believed women could lead. I still do. Emily read it twice. She didn't reply, but she saved the email in a folder labeled, Proof. Outside, snow began to fall. Through the cafe window, Emily watched children run, slip, and laugh. A young couple held hands, cheeks red from the cold. She pressed her palm to the glass, not to leave a mark, but to feel the cold. It grounded her. She wasn't healed, not yet, maybe never fully, but she was surviving, and in that moment, that was enough. Blank, _ blank. Infidelity doesn't always start in the bedroom. Sometimes, it starts in the hallway, in the elevator, in the pause before a goodbye. You can change your name. You can change your job. But the version of you who broke someone's trust, she walks beside you until you learn how to forgive her. Some betrayals go viral, but the silence afterward, that's the part that lingers.